So independent journalist Nick Shirley dropped a video revealing how much fraud is in Gavin Newsom's California. Medicaid fraud, childcare fraud, hospice fraud. The numbers are staggering. And what did Gavin Newsom do? He dropped a meme making fun of and trying to make Nick Shirley look creepy. You think he'd be grateful for this independent journalist discovering all this fraud within his state, right? Well, Joe Rogan thought so too. This is what Joe Rogan had to say about it.
Get Nick Shirley on this shit. He's cracking all kinds of cases.
Bro, the stuff that he just found in California is bonkers.
If you see that guy in your town, you're fucked.
Yeah.
He's a persistent little queef, that
Would
guy.
you see what the governor posted, what Newsom's press office posted? They posted a photo of Nick Shirley, like a fake Nick Shirley, like a meme, like Nick Shirley peeking into windows. Like, hey, he's doing your job. He's uncovering fraud, and what you're doing is mocking him?
Right. You should go, oh, shit, this fraud?
Yeah.
I'm the governor.
They should just open up the investigations into all these places immediately if you cared, but all they want to do is just obfuscate, cover it up, make it look silly.
Yeah.
Make it look like he's something, whatever he is, white supremacist.
Right. MAGA.
Nazi, whatever, MAGA. Come up with a name.
I don't want to get to it. My kid's at a Somali daycare right now, so I don't want to say anything.
So you can see right there, Joe Rogan calls out the obvious. Gavin Newsom should be, if anything, ecstatic. He should be opening up these investigations, not making fun of the independent journalists who discovered them. But here's a graph that Nick Shirley posted in regards to Medi-Cal enrollment versus California population. Wait till you see this. This is what Nick Shirley had to say about this graph. This is why California's fraud is so massive. Just look at their Medi-Cal budget versus Medi-Cal enrollment and population. In 2022, the budget was $108 billion. And this year, it will be increased to $222 billion. For what? Their population and enrollment hasn't increased exponentially, but their spending has more than doubled. Prime example of fraud, waste, and abuse of taxpayer dollars. So the population has increased, but their budget for Medi-Cal has increased twofold. Well, the good news is that thanks to independent journalists like Nick Shirley or Cam Higbee or Nick Sorter or Tyler Oliveira, there's a lot of fraud that is being uncovered and investigated. And thanks to them, fraudsters are finally being charged. Watch.
My name is Matthew Gagliotti, and I'm the head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. Today marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from fraudsters and to defend the integrity of America's healthcare system. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants for their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs. In a takedown this large, I can't possibly describe all of the work that went into dismantling each scheme, but there are 4 key points that bear emphasizing. First, let me be clear about what these healthcare fraud schemes mean for every hardworking American family. These criminals didn't just steal someone else's money, they stole from you. Every fraudulent claim, every fake billing, every kickback scheme represents money taken directly from the pockets of American taxpayers who fund these essential programs through their hard work and sacrifice. And when criminals defraud these programs, they're not just committing theft. They're driving up our national deficit and threatening the long-term viability of healthcare for seniors, disabled Americans, and our most vulnerable citizens. This enforcement action involves the seizure of cash, as well as luxury vehicles and properties, returning real money to American taxpayers and to our government healthcare programs. Second, we are seeing a disturbing trend of transnational criminal organizations engaging in increasingly sophisticated and complex criminal schemes that defraud the American healthcare system. As part of this takedown, we've identified and charged defendants operating from Russia, Eastern Europe, Pakistan, and other foreign countries. These individuals have infiltrated our healthcare system to steal American taxpayer dollars. As just one example, we dismantled a scheme involving a sophisticated operation run from Russia and Eastern Europe that strategically bought dozens of medical supply companies in the United States and submitted more than $10 billion in fraudulent healthcare claims to Medicare. To make matters worse, these perpetrators used the stolen identities of more than 1 million Americans spanning all 50 states to perpetrate this scheme and submit these false claims. But I'm pleased to report that federal agents intercepted and arrested key members of that organization at U.S. airports and the U.S.-Mexico border, cutting off their intended escape routes.
So as you can see there, a lot of these fraudsters are finally going to see justice. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. And some of the people who are going to face justice aren't who you would suspect would face justice, like politicians, like Tim Walz.
Honorable Robbins, based on your record before your committee, when did Governor Walz first become aware of widespread fraud in Minnesota's social service programs?
I would assume that he has been aware of it since he ran for office for governor in 2018.
By 2017, DHS investigators warned CCAP fraud could exceed 50%. What was that information elevated to the governor's office?
Yes, there was an OLA report.
Thank you, ma'am. By 2020, state officials knew Feeding Our Future invoices were fraudulent. We know that payments continued to the AG's knowledge. Did they continue to the governor's knowledge as well?
Yes.
Attorney General Ellison agreed on tape to fight Minnesota's own Department of Human and Health Services in exchange for Somali political and financial support. In your personal opinion, do you believe it is a possibility that Governor Walz also made that personal deal, or that he at least knew about the Attorney General's agreement?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't want to rehash what you guys have spent hours answering. We know that there's a big issue with the fraud in Minnesota. So on a number of things, I'd first like to point out, thank you for being here today, but because of your testimony and because of some of the evidence that we've seen brought forward, as well as I'm sure the fact that this committee, I assume, at Chairman Comer's direction, will be soon subpoenaing AG Ellison, I would like to make criminal referrals regarding Governor Walz as well as AG Ellison. As you know, U.S. Code 371 and U.S. Code 2, which deals with criminalized conspiracies to defraud the United States and establishes liability for individuals who knowingly aid or abet the commission of federal offense, includes willful blindness or deliberate inaction where duties to act exist. So I will be referring them later on today.
So Tim Walz and his Attorney General are being referred to the DOJ. They're going to be investigated. Now, whether or not they're charged or convicted of anything, who knows? But as of right now, there's plenty of evidence to say that points to Tim Walz's complicit non-action in regards to the fraud. He knew about the fraud since 2018, apparently since the last time he ran for governor in Minnesota. He knew about it. But the worst part about it is these whistleblowers came out and said that he tried to silence them, going as far as to threaten their careers. Now, there's one last clip I want to show you. It's about Nick Shirley, the brave young independent journalist who's uncovering so much fraud that he might be a huge part in saving America. I want to show you this clip where he talks about his faith. Watch.
Making videos more politically based after I had returned back from a 2-year mission for my church, and I had $0. So when I came home back from that trip, I worked for an entire month. I power washed houses, and my goal was to make $10,000 in cash. And so I then took that $10,000 in cash and used that to funnel my YouTube channel for the first 3 months until I could actually make a profit. Even when I went on my mission trip, I was still making videos, interviewing people about Jesus in Spanish.
So your faith has motivated you, hasn't it?
Yeah, and more so than anything, it's kept me on the straight and narrow, and it's kept me on a good path to be able to go do what I want to do.
Well, love learning about your background. It's extraordinarily impressive. Making consequential change in your young 20s. Thanks.
Making videos more politically based after I had returned back from a 2.
He's a Christian who's just trying to do the right thing. He's telling the truth. He's discovering fraud. He's finding where all the lies are, and he's revealing it to the public. Now, what happens when lies come to the surface? Typically, you hear a lot of complaints from the people whose lies are being exposed. Thus why Gavin Newsom is trying to make fun of Nick Shirley instead of support him. This is embarrassing for him. That's what it is. This is his state, just like Tim Walz, Minnesota, his state, that Nick Shirley unveiled all this fraud. They're embarrassed, and they may be complicit. I'm Noel. This is God in Politics. Subscribe, like, comment below. Continue the conversation. God bless you. Christ is King. I'm out.